All right, please like and share the video. We have an amazing, amazing, amazing night. We're going to drop some gems on y'all tonight. We have an amazing workshop coming up that's going to blow your mind. You've seen the videos that we've done on YouTube on High Level Conversations, the interview that's, already at like 4.6 million views.
Mm-hmm.
And then part 2, we did High Level Part 2, right? High Level Part 2 is at 1 million views. We're talking about 5-6 million views, on a podcast, which are incredible numbers on a platform that has extremely high level people and talent on it already. And these videos, well, the main video, the 4.5 million video, has superseded and excelled higher and beyond more than any other video on the entire Earn Your Leisure platform. And so what that tells me is people want to hear the knowledge.
That's a super fact.
They want to hear knowledge.
Because it's necessary.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing about it is when you go into an area where people have been hearing only one aspect of knowledge, and you come with this wide array of deep, serious, esoteric knowledge and science, and they grasp it and they take hold of it and run with it, that tells you that, man, people are really hungry out here. They're hungry. The brains and minds of people on these streets are really hungry. It's the perfect time to be alive. It's the absolute perfect time to be alive right now. And so what we see is that we're in a situation in this particular time and era where we have all the technology that we need to be able to communicate on a high level, to be able to transfer information back and forth simultaneously, instantaneously, all around the world. I was just telling Keys that, we were talking about, did I ever think that I'd be doing what I'm doing now, years ago. And I told him, yeah. Well, I saw a Hopi prophecy. And in this Hopi prophecy, it's the early 1990s, no WWW yet, no World Wide Web existed yet. And I saw this Hopi prophecy that said, soon the world will be connected by a web. And in this web, information will be able to travel around the world instantaneously. And I said, wow, if I'm alive when this happens, all the knowledge that I've been storing in my head is finally going to get spread around the planet. And so I just literally waited for my consciousness to catch up with the wave of time that was predicted or prophesied by the Hopi Indians. And when the time came, I never forget the day I saw the first commercial. The commercial was on regular TV. It was just a black screen. It was just 1998. It was an all black screen. It said IBM.com. I said .com. And when I looked up what .com was, I was like, oh, wow, it's here. I went to the bookstore, started looking up .com, found out what it was. And I was like, man, it literally is here. And so that was the very beginning stages of knowing and understanding that I was on the cusp of a global paradigm shift. A lot of people didn't see it. Even at that time I was married, my wife didn't see it. She told me I was crazy. I started closing down what I was doing and moving everything into trying to figure out how this web stuff worked. And it looked like for a minute we was getting ready to lose everything because that's how much I was dedicating to the idea and concept of the World Wide Web. And, it caused a lot of problems. But I held fast to my belief system and my belief in myself.
And it worked out.
Listen, did it ever work out?
That's the beautiful part about it. The climax of the story, the fact that it worked out, because as he talked about the Hopi prophecies, he then created his own prophecy.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the story within the story that a lot of people may miss out, even when you just hear that real quick, is that the most powerful thing about everything that you just said was that you heard a prophecy, you acted off of it, and then it made you create your own prophecy of what you're going to do when that time comes about. Right. And there's so much beauty in that because, there are limited minds that exist in our reality. There are regular minds that exist in our reality.
Yeah.
And you can give them the keys all day long, but their mind is not expanded enough to take an opportunity of opportune time. Right. Chrono means opportune time in Greek, right? And Chronos was the conqueror of time. That's right. In Greek history, he had the Sith that he would carry, and it represented the ravages of time, right? The imbalances of fighting. But when you break it down, through a chronon, it is increments of time, and the ability to be able to understand opportune time, because there are different types of time, right? Yeah. When you exist for opportune time, it means that you execute at the right time. Yeah. That there are windows in which these opportunities close, right? Like a portal door being open, and if you don't walk in now, then you miss out on the opposite end.
That's right.
So if you are alive during a synchronistic opportune time, such as the development or the initial phase of the internet, as we are here for the initial phase of blockchain, the initial phase of NFT, crypto, Web3, AI, we are here in what's considered to be this opportune time.
Right.
Now, if you have what I like to call the supermind, then you will be developed enough to take that opportunity and be brought into reality, and you will develop yourself into a higher level because you get to go through an evolution. Billy Carson post that opportune time of development. If you stayed at where you was at, we do not get this evolved version of him. Exactly. This is the higher level. Everybody has a higher level version. Yeah. Same thing with me. I might be, you know, a super high level, you know, fly crown, you know what I'm saying? Extra saucy, you know, militant luxury, you know, handsome consciousness, but it wasn't always this way, you know. I had to take those opportune times to, you know, execute. My brother, Dr. Wesley, told me the right idea at the right time always equals success.
Always.
Not sometimes, always.
It can never fail.
Always.
Never.
You know, but regular minds don't execute great things.
They don't. And when I saw the opportunity, and I already had the precognition, so I saw the full vision. I saw waves undulating into the future, and I can picture myself in that future being a huge part of what I saw that was going to happen. And that, like you say, windows of opportunity open, but they also close.
Right.
And I dove through that window.
Right.
I started a company called .com Marketing Group. You can still look it up till this very day. .com, DOTCOM, one of the very first .coms that existed. This is in 1998. Think about that. Who's starting a website company that long ago, right? And then that company became a multi-million-dollar web company, which then eventually got acquired by a company called Globebench Systems, which they used to do billboards, lit billboards, digital billboards on bus benches. And then we got bought out by the Amber Alert system, which I took my exit money, few $1 million. I had my non-compete for 7 years. I took 7 years off to spend all that time with my kids. I took 7 years off coaching, volunteering for Team USA basketball, volunteering for AAU, creating programs for kids, building a YMCA, which you can go to that YMCA in West Broward right now. My name is on the placard as one of the founding members of the YMCA, just helping out programs in my communities and stuff like that. And it's really spending the time, a wholesome time that a man typically in this day and age doesn't get to do.
Right.
Because it's always striving, because I got to come back and pay these bills somehow. I took that time and I took advantage. After that period of time ended, I went back and got back on my mind game again, the SUPERMIND. And I saw another future vision. I recognized mobile apps was coming to take over.
Yeah.
So I started a mobile app company. All right. I started a Zen Force Media, a mobile app company. I created one of the very first revolutionary apps that made international news. It was an app that allowed high school athletes to communicate with NCAA college coaches without violating the NCAA guidelines, and allow them to track the athlete, track all their scores, their stats, highlight clips, everything else, and even have a web chat between the app, but not direct contact by phone, allowing these kids to begin to get recruited by colleges all over the country. And it was a way for college coaches to become armchair recruits. It saved colleges tens of thousands of dollars in revenue, and it got so many kids scholarships. And so again, just seeing the future. And then from there, I developed more apps. So it came to the point where I realized I'm developing a lot of these apps for other people.
Right.
I need to be developing everything for all the ideas I got in my own mind, because I'm the original supermind. And so then I said, at one point I said, whoop, I'm only going to develop stuff for me from this point forward. And that's when I really enhanced and accessed my true supermind consciousness. And that's when I really began to explode.
See, that's powerful. It's powerful for a lot of different reasons. I've been on this journey of developing myself for a long time. I remember when I was young, probably around 5 years old. I'm standing outside of our house, and I would just imagine, in real life, like controlling the weather, right? I think it was that movie that just came out, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Wow.
So it had me in that flow. I don't remember exactly how old I was, but I felt the chi and the energy so strong.
Wow.
And there was this thought that came to me, and this thought, it wasn't just a thought, it was a voice. It was a very clear and distinct voice. And they say, and I can't tell you exactly how true this is, but I can tell you it's true for a lot of different people. I asked my classes in the BWO, how many people have a clear, right, inner voice, right? And they say 50% of people don't have an inner voice, right? And that statistic can be pointed out towards having a clear inner vision as well, right?
Absolutely.
That is a completely different customization of different human beings.
Right.
So for me, I heard a voice that told me that I was destined to do something great, right? And what it installed in me more so was a feeling, right? This feeling, this unshaken feeling, this undying thirst to do something great that would change the world.
Yeah.
And I remember, growing up in the streets of Oakland and St. Louis, times where, I could almost die. But I was like, nope, it's not going to happen because I haven't done what I was supposed to do yet.
Exactly.
And so I had lost that voice, that told me I was here for a real reason. If you got hit like I was hit, but you ain't fucking, no, I'm just playing. That's the 50th anniversary today.
That was a verse. He's going to a rap verse.
No, but for real though, in real life, I remember getting shot at and it was like, no, that's not how I go out, because I haven't done what I'm supposed to do yet. And this was, me in the streets, at a completely different version and status of life that I am now. But I grew up, when we was younger, went to Black Muslim private schools. We had the drill all year round, and it was for the development of my mind. You understand me? So, that drilling competition and the boxing and all the different things that we went through, because from an early age, I would be in FOI class, and there would be brothers that would come in here, teach mental, psychological techniques, spiritual techniques. They would talk about business. We would talk about, development. Like, I've been through so many different iterations of life. Even when I had my 1 year of college, I started this group called Minds of Business. Now, at first, they were saying they thought it was too street because the acronym was MOB.
Listen, that's my motto.
Yeah.
That's my slogan.
But what I did was, because I've always had a collaborative mind. So what I did was I took the names of everybody who is popular, everybody who was somebody or smart. I put their name on a list and I plastered it around the campus.
Wow.
And I told them to show up to this meeting. Every single person on that list showed up. Even this girl I like, she had nothing to do with it. I just wanted her there.
You just wanted her there, right?
Yeah, I just wanted her there. She was there though. So the idea of the group was we come up with ideas and we fund that. You understand me? And we work to bring it together. And it was funny because some of the drug dealers had the best ideas. You know what I'm saying? They had ideas about how to create charitable organizations. And so, that just more so speak to the mindset of collaboration, spirit. I've been doing that since I was a child. I created the Shifters, the BWO, my collaboration with EYL, and now my collaboration with you. Each one of these iterations are success stories, right? In their own right. I created, the Goldwater products to the crowns, right, to high level conversations, and all of my different courses and things of that nature. And each one of them has been an idea that's been successful, and it's because I've learned to really hone in on listening to myself. You know, and when I listen to myself, that's when I have the ability to take the thoughts that are worth executing.
Right.
Every thought and every idea is not worth your time. Right. And so when I hear it distinctly, get Billy Carson. You know what I'm saying? This will be the one. Okay. I'm following that. I don't question my higher self.
Don't question. I never question.
I don't question because he's higher than me. It's a reason they call it your higher self.
For real.
You don't go to a job and question the higher ups.
Right.
And so the job of your higher self is to give you orders. Right. And so I've been on this journey. I was thinking about it today as I was looking at myself on my way here, and I said, damn. I became that person I meditated on 10 years ago. That person that I was sitting in the dark and I was trying to figure out, and I asked, because I do this visualization technique to this day, is like, what is my 10-year-old my 10-year version look like?
Yeah.
And I'm like, he always flyer than me. He always look better. He always got more money. He always got a better relationships, networks, things going on, ideas. He's brilliant, focused, disciplined. He's greater than me. So I sit there and I ask, and I try to imagine how you smell, how you dress, how you move.
Yeah.
You know, and I just realized, like, damn, I'm who I seen manifested in my own mind.
And you know what that is too? In religion, people go and to this place, this temple, to get baptized. They get dipped in water. But a true baptism has nothing to do with dousing yourself in water. It's a baptism of consciousness. When you can look back on your previous self and see that you were here and now you're higher than that level, that you're rising up consciously, you're born again.
Right.
And you'll be born again many times in one lifetime, if and only if you keep working on yourself, period.
Yeah, I believe that, like, we live many lives within one, right? Like, people wait to be reincarnated, but you can have reincarnation while living.
Yeah.
Right. Death is not the only way. And I'm talking about the finality of death with your physical body, right? Because there's the shedding, right? And when you learn the occult science of the shedding, is similar to looking at all the things that you've built on top of yourself, right? And understanding that once you've used these things out, they are now old.
Yeah.
Right. They're old ways of thinking that no longer serve you, because once you expand, you're going to grow out of that thinking.
Exactly.
And people try to take those old ways, those old friends, those old networks, those old ideologies with them, even though you've been exposed. And now you feel contained in your own thinking.
Exactly.
And so you have to go through the process of the shedding, right? Shedding your old beliefs, shedding your old fears, shedding all of these different things. And it's a process that's not easy, because any growth requires a process of pain. That's the ritual for growth, is pain. It requires you to go through darkness. And then, but when that darkness envelops you, you utilize that as a blanket. You utilize that to absorb that darkness, and then you transmute that back into light.
That's right.
You don't go to the darkness to be in it. You go to gain something from it.
Exactly.
And that what you gain from it anchors you to be ready to shed that and walk into a new light.
Yeah.
Right. And so I've done that through different iterations of my life, developing a supermind.
Yeah.
Right. And when I say supermind, I'm talking about bulletproof tough. I'm talking about a mind who is enhanced. I don't need AI. I don't need ChatGPT. I know how to think. Right. And there are codes to crack within the formula of the mind. I give this one away all the time, just about the, M equals PA T, plus V. But that's more so the formula of the transformation of the mind, right? It is the vision, the awareness, the potential, and transformation, right? That is how the mind produces its capabilities into going into a supermind.
Right.
But I haven't gave away the codes to the supermind. That's just the regular mind.
Yeah.
Right. The natural intelligence.
Yeah.
And natural intelligence is so lost upon most people, because most people don't know how to think. Right. Thought travels faster than light. Right. But there was a man who didn't know that told you light travels faster than thought.
Exactly.
So you put a limitation on your own mind because you follow false principles of man instead of the universe. Right. The universe is beyond the scope of understanding for the uninitiated. But for those who are initiated, they understand they don't need to understand it. They know it.
Yeah.
Right. There is a knowing of wisdom when you let go of your preconceptions of overthinking and you get into the true art of thinking, which is not thinking at all.
Right.
It is being.
Yeah. People are stuck with programming. So the programming codes that they're receiving, and the most crucial time is between the age of 1 and the age of 7. In that time frame, that's when everyone comes for your kid.
Yeah.
And your whole ideology and mindset and belief structure is built between that 1 to 7 years old. And after that 7th year, it's virtually almost impossible for a lot of people to go back and reprogram or re-encode themselves. So you've been given that name, a race, and a religion. You're defending a false identity. You're trapped with limitations because the school has robbed you. You've been abducted from your home and brought to this location where they steal all your dreams, all your visions, all your originality, all your creativity is stolen from you. And then now what happens? You're put out there and now you're just running on programming code. You have no way of thinking or conceiving anything. If somebody asks you your multiplication tables, you can give them the answers because you memorized them.
That's a fact.
But you don't know how to solve the problem. You just memorize answers. And memorizing answers and going through the life like that isn't good enough to be a supermind.
No, it's not.
You're just basic.
becoming a high level thinker requires you to think in multiplicity, right? Binary thinking, that's not enough, especially in a time where the codes of the universe have sped up.
Yeah.
And it's not really the codes of the universe sped up, but the processing of, like Moore's law, right? So where you see the speed up of technology because of our ability, right, to consistently produce better based on what we produce. So you creating better tools, and those tools help you produce better tools. Those tools help you produce better tools. You become more efficient and efficient and efficient. Time slows down when you speed up. That's the way it works, right? So, even with Einstein's principle of light, it's saying that if you could go faster than time, then you break that barrier, right? So he created principles of, impossible based on his inability to think past a certain point.
Exactly.
Right. And he made that the code that everybody ran off of.
Yeah.
So when you learn to break the codes of limitations, right, of this world, because those who run the world don't think in limitations, right? They have the codes of the masters. Yeah. They have the codes of the ascended. And so you may wonder, why is it that certain people have the ability to function at very high levels, right? Are they blessed with something? Are they lucky, right? Did they know some magical power that they were given in their DNA that nobody has? No. Everything that exists that a man has is because of the way he uses and develops his mind.
Exactly.
That is the singularity. We talk about a singularity within machine, right? But what about the singularity within mind,
right,
in man? When man reaches the singularity point, he has the ability to rule all men, right? And so this is what you see with those who run the world, is they have super minds. They have reached the singularity, which is not the over complex thinking that you may think that it is, but is that they believe in the unknown. They believe in the occult.
Yeah.
And they know how to utilize that belief system to control the rest of the world, because it is beyond intelligence, right? Once you get to the super knowing of self, you develop the super mind capabilities.
Yeah, they have the codes. And so because they know the codes, they implement those codes on the masses. They utilize the codes that they've learned to the codes we talked about this earlier. They can be used for light or darkness, because the code is always going to be there, but yin and yang permeates the entire universe.
That's a fact.
So it's in everything. It's in every atom in your body. So there's a choice that has to be made, a conscious decision. And they chose a conscious decision that they would utilize these codes to dominate humanity. And why? Because on a mass scale, a lot of people are so distracted by all the program that they've been given, and so distracted by the divide and conquer tactics and everything else that's going on, they can't even see that they're being coded, that there's somebody using a special type of spell, casting a special type of spell on them. They can't even decipher it or see it or actually realize it. And so you have to understand that in order for you to break through that, you have to develop your own supermind. And that's what we're going to be talking about, this workshop that we have coming up on May 14th. It's going to be an 8-hour workshop, a private class that you can sign into. I'm going to drop the link in the chat again. This is going to go deep, deep, deep. You're going to come out of this understanding and knowing a supermind. And we're going to be giving you in the actual class real life thought experiments, something that most people never do.
Yes. I'm going to tell you something that I think it may take some people a while to crack. And to know everything, you have to know nothing, because to know nothing is to know everything. Potential is everything. Some people don't like people's potential. They just the potential. No. Potential is everything. An empty cup has all the potential in the world. A full cup has no more potential. Right. And so the emptying of the mind is a development of awe. Right. And once you learn that principle in application and through formula and process and how to live it and how to be it, your mind can be in a state of super flow. A mind in a state of super flow is a mind that can meet any challenge, but it has to be developed with skills. When skills meets challenge, and that challenge has to be slightly beyond the skills, it forces you to live in right here. Right? Here's your skills, here's your challenge, and then here's the energy that binds you within this flow. Now, that can be broken down. If any of you all go study this in the 4th phase of water, right? I think it was Dr. John Pollock, that gave the breakdown about the 4th phase of water when he showed the structure of water, right? when that water is next to ultraviolet radiation, right? Radiation that we can't see with our naked eye, but it's felt. It encompasses everything around us. That water has two sides. One is negative and one is positive, right? If you look at water at the top of a lid, if you fill it to the top, you see a little dome on top of it, right? At that dome right there, there's basically like a geometrical shape that covers that dome, right? And within that, and you all go look at it, because I'm gonna explain this in very simple terms today, right? But it can get more complex when you go into it, but it's a very simple of understanding of flow. Because within water, there is a very small, unique bridge. If you put two poles on one side, positive and negative, you can charge and get energy. Because right in between that, there's this flow of energy. You know, the same thing that makes blood flow within our bodies, right? And so if you take the micro and you apply that to the macrocosm of life, right? And when you think about, you know, challenge meets skills, is basically positive meeting negative. And in between that force that is repelling each other is the flow. And so when I'm in any mode, in any conversation, I put what I know positive against the negative, the unknown, and it forces me to be right there. You go take two magnets that repel each other, all that energy in the middle, that's the mental energy that I can utilize, right? And that's where I draw from. And it's a continuous state where I feel good and I do good, right? I've never seen nobody that don't feel good that don't do good, right? You know what I'm saying? Oh man, I'm feeling bad. Well, you did good out there. No, you did bad and you felt bad.
Exactly.
Right. But when you feel good and your mind's flowing and you tapped in the concepts, the ideas, everything is just in abundance. Right. That's the state of the supermind.
You get into the flow state. Look at Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, arguably one of the greatest basketball players of all time. But he took basketball as a meditation, a form of meditation. When he played basketball, to him, from his perspective, everybody else was slowing down. Why is that? Because he got into the flow state. He was playing at the speed of thought. They were playing at the speed of light. And everything he did, you'd see him go through 5 or 6 people making all these, in the air, making all these moves. Because from his perspective, he's not a person standing in the ocean waiting for a wave to crash over him. He's surfing on the wave. He's closer to real-time thought, real-time intuition, and he's able to act on that intuition ahead of his competitors.
That's a fact.
You know?
You know, like crashing into the ocean is like arguing with a woman.
Right.
Right. And now, hold on now. I know what you're thinking. Because this is super-minded game, right? This is very high science and knowledge. Ancient man, he had an understanding of things that modern man is just so ignorant with his ego towards. We deconstruct everything and think we know better, right? But modern man built the foundation of everything that we do. The fruit does not know better than the root. The fruit does not know better than the root, right? The root is what everything is sunken into. It drives all the life that produces everything, right? The essence of life within itself is at the root of it. So when we study language, well, we got to study the root word. Why? Because there are metaphysical, energetic qualities embedded in that, in the intention of the design of the words that we use. So those supersede our conscious understanding, our conscious education. Those are the things that go into our subconscious and our DNA functions. So your subconscious hear words that your conscious mind is using, and they say, "Whoa, wait a minute! Now they know that means something different." Your DNA sees a symbol, right? And they say, "Wait a minute! Now there's information that I have to interpret that signal,
right?
And it's not based on your education, right? It's based on a stream of life." You have the library of Timbuktu and Alexandria and the Akashic records within your blood. Right? You store DNA and information in that. So the cracking of your own codes, right? Because DNA equals out to 19. Y'all figured out how. You got to look that up. You know, I got that. Listen, man, these 19 codes, man, I'm trying to tell you. I got some things on at the workshop. You know, this is going to force me to just lay it out all on the table. All of the research, all of the knowledge, all of the mysteries, right? There's no accident in developing yourself. You don't accidentally become a master teacher, a master thinker, a master doer, a master knower. And then what is beyond master though? Because even words create trappings, right? Words create limitations because every word has a limit. And so once you go beyond speaking, right, there's no greater wisdom than silence, right? Man speaks only to let you know what he don't know. That's it. Man can only speak what he don't know, right? When we speak, you can know the limitations of a man. You can't know what a man knows until, but when a man is silent, what do? You assume he knows everything.
Yeah.
It's not until he speaks to where, damn, you a fool. How do you know a man is wise? He's in front of God. What would you say to God? Nothing. Right? Because anything you say to God is just reveal how much of a fool you are. Our knowledge is but a ladle in the ocean, and a ladle is but a small, tiny spoon. And you go take your little ocean and you walk it up, or your little spoonful of knowledge, you walk it up to God and be like, here, this is what I know. So that little boy going on. Yeah. Instead, I walked to God empty-handed. And he said, you the wisest man that came to me, right? Because you came with your potential, right? And you came ready to know everything. And that's the secret.
That's the secret. Listen, a battery, what is a battery? In science, we learn first, when classical science classes, a battery is potential. If you look up the scientific terminology around stored energy, anything that stores energy is potential. Your mind is energetic. It's full of synapses, billions of synapses happening consistently and all the time. And scientists just did a study and discovered that 50% of your calories are being absorbed by the human mind when you're studying and thinking. That's a lot of calories. That means your mind is taking in energy, but that energy then needs to get sent out. Every thought that you think is creating a light wave that is actually leaving your skull. So you're absorbing calories, converting it into potential, and then sending those potential waves out into space-time. What are you transcoding onto those light waves? Because every thought you think is a carrier wave that's encoded with digital bits of information that's speaking out to the universe. There's codes that you can send out through conscious thought, backed by action, and that's going to bring back your manifestation. Those are the codes that we're going to teach you in this amazing workshop. Secret, deep codes, a lot of which I have never even spoken of before, but these are codes of wisdom that will help you to unlock your supermind, the supermind that's locked away inside of you. See, we all have gifts. A lot of us we don't open the packages. And I'm going to help you to unlock those codes and find out truly who you are, how to access your deepest inner thoughts, and then you will begin to hear a voice. And I'm going to do an exercise with you in this workshop where the voice you begin to hear is not a mystery voice anymore. The voice is going to be your higher self. Your own voice will be speaking to you from a higher dimension. You don't want to miss this workshop.
No, this is going to be beautiful, man. Yeah. I'm going to work to really bring out my best work that I've done. There's secrets of, synchronistic thinking. Everybody loves the 444s, astronomical thinking, but everybody loves astrology. Yeah. The customization of the human being is a very powerful module of thinking. There's a code where if a person really learns the framework of who they are, they know how to constantly redevelop themselves. And so we're taught against becoming masters of ourselves in school, because then it will be an uncontrollable process. The way you see technology develop, it would be the way you see human beings develop over time. Right? You will see these super sapiens throughout time and throughout eras, and it will be uncontrollable for a government, right? Or anybody that has any agenda to control a populace that is constantly increasing in IQ, increasing in creative intelligence, right? And increasing in all of these areas. And so they purposely educate you away from utilizing your brain, utilizing your calories of developing itself. Otherwise, your natural intelligence get to a point where it supersedes, right, all of the systems, institutions that they created to bound you. If you feed your slave and you allow your slave to work out, right, and you allow your slave in a library, eventually that slave becomes stronger and smarter than you.
That's right.
And no matter what you do to try to put that slave up, you can try to put him in chains. You can try to put him in shackles. You can put the biggest man against him. You can put 1,000 miles between him and his freedom. He will educate himself until he gets to a point to where everything that you set in front of him, he has now perfectly figured out how to become that which can set himself free. And so why the hell Would they create a system that is meant to keep you in a cage and you think they're going to educate you on how to create your own key?
It ain't going to happen.
It won't happen.
It ain't going to happen.
You know, it happens outside the school is where you get real education.
Yeah.
That's where you get real knowledge. The school is that. It's to school you.
Yeah.
Right? It's not to provide you into a higher level of being and intelligence. They don't use the word consciousness in school.
No.
How you don't use the word consciousness in school?
Yeah.
Right? How do you don't use the word, like, I just want us to think about that. You don't use the word consciousness.
One of the most powerful words that actually exists.
School. So what the hell am I going for if not to develop my consciousness?
Exactly.
We don't use the word, the natural intelligence is not used in school.
No.
Wait a minute. So you're not telling me the rhythm of the art of thinking, the art of learning, right? They don't teach about the universal laws. People learned about the law of manifestation and The Secret.
Yeah.
Right? They learned that this in separate books. What you're not gonna teach me the laws of positivism? No. Positivism? I already you say that damn word. I always have an issue. Positivism.
Yeah.
Right. But also just mentalism. Yeah. Right. Alchemy. Right. How is this not taught in school, but we learn about chemistry?
Right.
Right. How we are not learning how to tap into our intuition. Right. How we're not learning how to utilize the power of quantum physics. Right. In real tangible ways.
Right. Exactly.
Right. So we know why. And I'm asking a question because God is in the details. When you ask the question why, you are assuming the place of God. Right. You are preparing yourself to accept a higher truth when you ask the question why.
Yeah.
Right. The supermind has nothing in his way as an obstacle.
Yeah.
The supermind does not get stuck. Right. The supermind has a process that is formulated for constant development, right? And when you reach becoming a master thinker, right, a master believer, a master exceeder and doer, you tap into universal laws. Those universal laws are not just, hey, law of attraction, I'm so positive, everything will happen for me. No,
don't work that way.
That infomercial for positivity will not produce results because it has to be coupled with other laws. You show me any lawyer in the world that knows one law in the Constitution. Would you trust him to fight your case?
No.
Hey, anything I should do with my case.
Right.
My case has something to do with me tapping into the law of superior confidence, right? Being able to mirror that which I projected myself to create an outer reality that a person projects that within themselves, right? There are so many laws within the universe that you can utilize to master reality on a constant daily functional level, but we only taught about one. And sometimes one is good for some people because some people operate, right, at an unconscious level doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's other people who have to be steered back on the path. And that's when you understand the customization, right, of human beings. We're all different. So the development of who we are, we can use the same codes, but the way we use them have to be different.
Absolutely.
The amount of that which we use is different. If somebody is sick, right, the amount of medicine that they would have to eat, the amount of, you know, different type of diets that they would have to take will be different than somebody who I feel good for. You can't eat that ice cream right now.
Exactly.
I'm gonna go ahead and get me a scoop.
Yeah.
But you enjoy the zucchini right now, brother. You know what I'm saying? We customize different.
They're all customized.
You know?
Yeah. And we have to understand that this process of developing a supermind and the way that we're going to teach it, it's going to give you so many shortcuts where, you know, there's a lot of speed bumps that I've gone through. There's a lot of blindsided situations I had to go through. There's a lot of research I had to go through without mentors, without being able to tap into somebody above me to say, hey, this is what's happening. This is how you break this down. This is what you do here. You're taking from me and Keys decades and decades and decades of knowledge and research, countless hours that are priceless hours of research, investigation, and also, most importantly, between the two of us, actual action, real action. In other words, we don't just have these thoughts. We haven't just come up with these ideas. We've acted on them.
That's a fact.
That's a huge difference between somebody you can have all the knowledge in the world. I can have 10,000 books in my head. If I'm not acting on any of that knowledge, it's worthless.
That's a fact.
Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge will give you power, but you also need to know how to apply it. And that requires the supermind codes, which we're going to give you in this workshop.
You know, there was it makes I think in visualizations, right? And it helps me really think about things. And you know, you watch a movie, sometimes they got like this is unlimited energy source, like a tesseract cube or something, and they're trying to condense it and control it, right? There are certain ideas, right? Concepts, if you will, that when you're getting it, right, and you're breaking it down and you're giving it to somebody, it's very powerful. Right. And what we try to do through all of the knowledge, the research, the gain of function, right? I remember I was studying physics so deeply when I first started my journey in 19 Keys. I would speak only in complex terms of like quantum mechanics and, you know, and I remember talking to people that I'm so excited about it. And they listen and like, you like too deep for me, boy. My uncle once told me, he said, well, you deep, but you execute. And he said, that is rare. I've never met nobody who is deep as you and execute. But what I learned to do, that energy that's wired, when you learn a new truth, right, it excites the mind. Electricity is firing everywhere. So sometimes you meet somebody that's new on their journey and they're so excited to talk to everybody. Oh, I got to ask you a question. Man, I got to tell you, because they haven't learned to condense that energy, right? To squeeze it in, right? And condense it into a point where they can control it.
Exactly.
And so when you see the ascended master, you're seeing somebody who's taken all of that chaotic new energy and electricity and they're condensing it. And so people who can explain in simple conceptual terms are condensing atoms. They're taking hydrogen power and they're giving it to you in the palm of your hand and say, here, right? But when you have to go through that process of cracking that atom your own self, some people go crazy.
They go crazy.
You know how many scientists have went crazy on the road to discovery? Right? And the ability to communicate, that is another high level.
That's a super
it's a super skill. I practice all the time. How do I take complex concepts and give it to the average man or woman? Because I need to make sure that I can condense it down to a point to where it doesn't lose much energy and it still has the same power.
Still has the same power. They can understand it, they can grasp it, they can discern it, and then they can take the action, which is most important. We're running out of time tonight because there's another podcast coming up right behind us. If you're watching on Instagram, the link is in the bio on my account. Make sure you click the link in my bio on this account and register ASAP, because we're not going to take everybody. It's going to be a limited amount of people for this. We're not giving the codes to the whole world. This is going to be something special. All right. So I'm dropping the link one more time here. We got to make way for the Numb podcast coming up next, starring my sister, Maria Carson, and my beautiful fiance, Elizabeth Hookstra. They're coming on in just a few short minutes. But thank you, everyone, everywhere on your podcast, my Instagram, your Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you are, and Twitter. Thanks for sharing some time with us tonight. But we'll be back many more times because we're going to be talking about the SUPERMIND codes and how to unlock them. All right. So be ready, because we're coming with the real knowledge, the knowledge that a lot of people would never give you, because when you hoard that knowledge, you can maintain power over people. But we're going to release that knowledge to you guys and teach you how to become your own SUPERMIND, how to understand the codes, how to unlock them, and how to create the life that you truly desire. All right. We got to get out of here tonight, though. But peace.
Peace.
Make sure you follow 19 Keys, high-level conversations on YouTube at Earn Your Leisure. All right. Peace.